Welcome to Smile Africa Television. I am Patricia Baby Amawa. On today's program, we're featuring Samuel Anyanwu, President and Broker of Record for Starion Realty. Samuel's story is that of the power of persistence, education, and the value of mentorship, which have made him a real estate and business success story.
Samuel Anyanwu came to Canada from Nigeria at the age of 16. After a very challenging period in his teenage years in Toronto, he was able to study business administration at Humber College and finance at York University.
I came to Canada at 16. I came to study here. I was sponsored from Nigeria to study here in Canada. Coming in just the first few months, things changed drastically, from my sponsorship back home not being able to support me, to family issues and so on. And I immediately found myself in a little bit of a quagmire where it's either I continue my education and I can't pay my rent, or I drop out and do something else just to survive. And the one thing that kept me going was believing that there was more to this. There was more to where I was, and I needed to keep pushing. And then I found a lot of people that were in a position to help. I was very confident to share my story with them, to say, okay, this is what's going on, and I need help. So I think that was the other thing that changed a lot of the issues that were, or things that were setting us back, or setting me back at the time, changed it to become what it is today. Now, it still wasn't easy because I ended up bouncing around between friends and family and so many other people in between. And the one thing that was clear to me from then on was that real estate is so important. Having a roof over your head is probably one of the most important things, and that was the number one drive. Funny enough, the one story I'd like to tell a lot of people is my rent at the time was $350, and I could not pay $350 for a room in close to Humber College. Ended up finding, someone I call a mother today, Mrs. Shalala B, who took me in, and I stayed with her for 3 years, and she's part of my story till today. And she was a blessing to me. After college, I moved out, tried to establish myself again on my own. Didn't work out. I didn't have a steady job. I was on contract over and over. So it wasn't a rosy start. It was tough, it was challenging. I was at one point kicked out. The cops got called on me because I could not pay rent. I was living in Mississauga at the time. Everything I owned was in a black garbage bag on the streets of Mississauga. So everything that was going on was saying to me, real estate, but in a very negative way, right? So today, my goal is to own as many properties in this country because of my rough experience with real estate. And that drives me. Starion Realty was born out of that. All the companies that I started right from a few years ago is just a testament to where we were, where I was personally, not knowing where to go, not knowing who to talk to, not having a lot of people believe in my potential, and then transcending all of those challenges to be the person I am today. And even till today, I'm still very humbled by where we are and what I foresee in the future. What we're bringing to the real estate table is a unique brand that is positioned to help people build sovereign generational wealth. For me, wealth is allowing people the access to prime real estate in the city. A lot of the time you realize that a pocket of a community or people are doing well within a certain sphere. And the reason for that is because they have the information and the knowledge of what's going on in that sphere. So as a brand, we want to take real estate to communities, to families, to people that don't necessarily know that this opportunity exists. And as a brand, we also want to bring excellence to the business. The one thing that I tag to be our mantra, our mandate, is making your biggest investment shine. It's all about helping the individual make the right decision at the right time, So again, it's all about bringing excellence to the business, getting people the right information at the right time, helping them understand their potential. And for our agents, it's an opportunity for you to grow within the brand, within a brand that is unique, a brand that is technologically savvy. All our platforms, I'm proud to say, are all in the cloud today, are all based on technology that are 21st century technology, from our website to the software we use, and I'm always proud to talk about them, and to the systems that we put in place to help brokers, agents, and all our clients really do well in the business and to build generational wealth. Again, the other thing I'll say to technology is I have my background working as a business analyst as well. So I did that for quite a while. So that knowledge is transferable.
But I've heard good things about Sam, and he's a great guy. He's young, energetic, good looking, good personality. So he's out there. He's trying to obviously make a name for himself and trying to help his clients. And it's very important for them to understand that if he's bringing a project, first of all, he's doing his research, and from what I know that he has done his research, and he's bringing the project to his buyers, and they should trust him and go on, and also check the website, check who is the developer, what the location is, what the amenities are, what is the finishes and all that, and check that. I can tell you on this project that if your buyers or his clients trust him, they will not go wrong.
Planet Africa Television will be right back.
Afroglobal Television is a global super channel that transforms the destiny of people of African descent through programming that informs, empowers, entertains, and uplifts. The mission of Afroglobal is to showcase the best of Africa and the diaspora.
Watch Afroglobal Television on Channel 2472 on Bell 5 and Channel 708 on Rogers Cable.
Welcome back. Samuel Anyanwu was inspired by the challenges he faced as a tenant in Toronto to establish a real estate company to help others with the art of wealth creation.
At 27 years old, Samuel has defined his vision and the purpose of his life as one that is aimed at helping individuals to become wealthy through real estate.
The one thing that made me stick so passionately to my dream is failure. I'll be the first person to tell you, I was more afraid of what was on the other side than what success had to offer. And I think if you think about it that way, it'll give you a jump. Now, there are other things, and we'll talk about it, but if you think about what your life will be like, or what your life maybe is like today, working an odd job, or maybe, because the other part to my story that we'll talk about at some of the dates is I came into this country, and within the space of 2 months, I worked in a factory. I worked in a factory before I started, while I was going to school. I worked in a factory during my summer break because I got a call from home saying, listen, next semester you gotta figure things out yourself, because this is the X amount of dollars that we can send you. And hey, things were tight. So I understood, and I said, listen, I have to step up and I have to do something. So in the space of 6 months, I was able to work a factory job, but I did what I had to do to make ends meet. So whoever's watching and they're in a position where things are tough, things are hard, I've been there. And the tougher things get should be the push to say it must not end this way. There's got to be something on the other side, and that's always been my drive. Today we're here, and the question still remains for me: what's next? What are we doing to build on what we currently have? So, for a lot of people, use your pain as your motivation to your success. Use those things that keep you up at night to propel you for more. the other thing I must say to a lot of people is don't underestimate the power of books. They say readers are leaders. The one thing that I must say changed my life beyond Rich Dad Poor Dad is reading books like The Weekend Millionaire, The Millionaire Next Door, Napoleon Hill, reading books about him, and so many other people that either had to go through one thing in life to get to where they are today. Another book that really made an impact in my life is Night by L.E. Wellesley. He was one of the Jewish people that were in concentration camps in Germany, and he survived. He was one of the survivors, and he's won a Nobel Prize for that. I mean, thinking about being in a concentration camp, seeing your family being killed, being sent to gas chambers, and then overcoming, I mean, it's got to take a level of strength and mental strength to overcome situations like that. So I say to a lot of people, I reckon with where you are. I understand where you are, but it should never be the reason to go back. It should be, better yet, a reason to push forward. If you hear no, you tell yourself yes, right? So many times people have said, no, Sam, you can't do that. I want to start a brokerage. You can't do that, come on. Like, you know, just get a job. You know, I don't want to work at McDonald's. The one thing I said to myself, I wasn't going to work at McDonald's. Now, a lot of people will say, McDonald's, isn't it McDonald's better than working in a factory? But I didn't want to work at McDonald's because that was my choice. I didn't want to work in a place where I was just flipping burgers. I felt like working in a factory, at that age, I was young, but I felt like that was going to show me more. It was tough, it was hard, but that was what I wanted. I wanted to go through that process, right? And that, I stuck with that. So the other thing you'd learn real quick about me is I'm a very strong-willed person. You know, it's hard enough to push me around and to waver, but I'm mentally stronger today because of people that I've watched. Someone like my father as well, who must be mentioned, an individual that didn't have the right education, dropped out of school at, you know, from back home you call it primary 5, but let's say grade 5, to support his brother to send him to school, right? And went on to start a church back in Nigeria that has done pretty well for itself. So people like that are mentally strong. The one thing you will see the one thing you will experience when you start to talk to people about wealth is that, number one, a lot of people don't know what wealth really means. So we hear it every day, we use it in our vocabulary, but a lot of us don't really understand what it means. So wealth is really about leaving a legacy behind. And so what does that mean? My money is not a legacy. The cars I own is not a legacy. Where I live is not a legacy. So what is a legacy is that which will enable the next generation to sustain their lifestyle, right? And sustain the opportunities that it affords them to build on what you've left behind. So at 27, why am I talking about wealth? Because there's never a better time to start building wealth than today. The younger you are, the better. The older you are, still the better, because you're leaving something behind that has your name on it. Just to share with you, my daughter she's gonna be 4 months coming up shortly. And the very first day she was born, the one thing I was thinking about was her RESP. The one thing I was thinking about was what's next for her financial future. I wasn't thinking about the next boyfriend who's probably gonna come knocking on the door or any of that. And because my mindset is focused on something greater than me. So wealth is always about focusing on something that's larger than you, focusing on something that will sustain the next generation. So everything we do as a brand, as a brokerage, is all about sustaining the next generation.
Planet Africa Television will be right back.
Welcome back. Anyanwu has been supported by many members of the community as well as veterans in the real estate business. One of his mentors is Dr. Steve Gupta of Easton's Group.
Many amazing individuals, including his mentor, Dr. Steve Gupta, who has established the iconic condominium project in Vaughan, have helped Samuel on his journey to realize his dream. His goal is not only to be successful, but to give back to the society that has contributed to building him up.
You could not think of a better mentor or a better leader to show you how the business works, to show you what works, what doesn't work, the loopholes, some of the things that he's had to overcome in the past few. The one thing that I consider greatly to be the bedrock of success is mentorship. So finding that individual that has done it and that continues to exceed and, you know, exude excellence, finding that person and learning from them. You know, so reading about Steve Gupta's story, Dr. Steve Gupta's story, you realize one thing, it's almost similar to mine. You know, came in at 16, had my ups and downs, struggled a whole lot with real estate, and now making it out of that quagmire to start my own real estate firm, my own brokerage is unique, but you have to owe that to people that went ahead of you to set that platform, to tell you that, listen, as an immigrant, no matter where you're coming from, no matter how you came in, no matter where you landed when you first came to Canada, it does not matter. All that matters is what opportunities you seek out and how you take advantage of those opportunities. The other thing I'll say again, after reading Steve Gupta's story, is how he went from one thing to the other, right? He's now termed to be a serial entrepreneur because he's able to, you know, transfer skill sets that he's already immersed in certain other segments into a different segment. And that's something that I admire in every sense of the word, because my goal is to not just be or run the best brokerage or to have the best real estate brand. My goal is to tap into every segment of real estate in Canada as there could be, or as there isn't, to rediscover the potential, to say, you know, what's not there that we can create, what's not there that we can manufacture, or so to say, bring about. And if there's something that's currently being done, we want to come in and we want to excel in that realm. So, you know, Steve is an amazing mentor, and I have great mentors that I also owe my success to. And one of the books that changed my life, Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. I read that book when I was 14. First time I read the book, my brother brought home the book, and he loves reading. Me, on the other hand, I love reading and watching. So I tend to watch more and learn in that process. So he brought it home, and I took a glance at it, and the cover page was so interesting, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Like, did this guy have a rich dad and a poor dad at the same time? It was probably the dumbest way to look at the book. But I picked it up, and in a week, I read the whole book at the age of 14. It changed my life because at that point at 14, in a different country, by the way, I wasn't even here at the time, I started to understand the power of real estate. So maybe that was why I had a little bit of a challenge when I came in. But how powerful real estate is to change the lives of individuals around the world, and the fact that real estate is a global phenomenon, you know, and then coming in and then having my first taste of, you know, the negatives, you know, obviously, but seeing how it worked from that perspective drove me to say, I want to see how it works on the positive side, where you're the owner, where you're the one building equity, where you're helping people build equity, right? And so these are some of the things that when you have a mentor, or you have someone to teach you, whether a book or a person or a TV series or something you'd watch on YouTube that you can go to regularly to show you how it works, you build knowledge that you may not have built in the same amount of time.
Planet Africa Television will be right back.
Afroglobal Television is a global super channel that transforms the destiny of people of African descent through programming that informs, empowers, entertains, and uplifts. The mission of Afroglobal is to showcase the best of Africa and the diaspora.
Watch Afroglobal Television on Channel 2472 on Bell 5 and Channel 708 on Rogers Cable.
You're watching Planet Africa Television. We now continue with our special feature on Samuel Anyanwu, President and Broker of Record for Starion Realty.
The company has come so far and it's been quite amazing. I didn't even expect it to go this well. I mean, we've done things in the industry today that probably a lot of brokerages starting out would not even have the ability to boast or brag about. Now, keeping in mind that when I started Starion Realty, it was just me. I didn't have funds lying somewhere. I didn't have a grandfather or granddad helping me or supporting me. It was just me. It was just one vision. It was just me telling people that, hey, listen, I'm doing this and this is how I'm going to do it, and whether you know it or whether you like it, it's going to happen. You know, so in a sense of the word, it was just all about guts and grits, you know, and saying whether I have all the money or some of the money, it's going to happen, right? So to this point, I really didn't think we were going to be this successful. I mean, we're working on an iconic project, Icona, today that we have allocations and access to in less than a few months of even getting started on the brokerage side of the business. We've been a broker for a few. So it's all about relationships in the industry. It's all about finding the right person, the right groups of people to work with, to build that relationship that helps build the brand. So when you think about success, you know, we've been successful thus far, but the future holds a whole lot more for us. Starion, unique, very unique name, and it came to me, I would say, in a dream. I woke up saying the name, and I've told quite a few people about how I came about the name, and it's such a testament to the fact that when you have a vision, it comes to you in different ways, but what you do with it is what counts. I woke up saying the name. I quickly found, because I'd never heard it before, I didn't think it was normal. I wasn't even here. I was in a different country, by the way. And so I wrote it down, and that was my way of, we didn't have smartphones at the time, so I quickly wrote it down so I won't forget. Anyways, coming to Canada, I came with that diary, which I still have till today. This was 2004, yeah, and it was a gift someone gave to my father. Writing it down was the first step. The second step was, why did I write it down? I wrote it down because, first of all, I believed it was possible, even though I didn't see how it was going to happen. But second of all, I wanted to remember. So a lot of the time when you write things down, when you take notes, it's for your own good, your own benefit. Fast forward 5 years after, I was now in Canada, going through all the things, all the hell and high water that could come with being here. I forgot everything about it because there was just so much going on. Until by my faith in God and believing in God, God reminded me one day about this dream and this vision. And I could not remember the name of the company, which I believe God had given me. I could not. So it was having it written down somewhere until I remembered, like, oh, you know, I wrote it down somewhere. And I went and I picked up the diary and I started flipping through pages, up on pages of things I had written. And I found the name. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. I mean, this has to be the most amazing factor to showcasing that God wants me to do this. So, you know, my faith is so firmly rooted in God that everything I do really is about God. My vision is of God. Starion Realty is not just mine. It's a godly embodiment of faith and favor that God has already bestowed upon my life.
Samuel is married to Ajoke and their parents to Zina.
That's all for the program. I hope you were inspired by the story of Samuel Anyanwu to see your challenges as opportunities. Even though Samuel encountered a lot of difficulties as a teenager who had just moved to Toronto, he has established a real estate company to help others with wealth creation. If you would like to know more about us, please visit our website at planetafricagroup.com. Also join us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. I am Patricia Baby Amawa. See you next time. Goodbye.